Hey everyone, it's Jeremy here, and I'm going to give you some work-at-home advice. Some of you know I have major vision problems. My right eye is blind, my left eye can't see very well, so working at home is the best overall option for me. Thanks to my partnership with TGN, I'm able to make a bit of money with my channel. I'm not going to really go into how much I make. I'll just say it's enough to knock out things like little things. It's not enough to pay everything, but it's enough to knock out a healthy chunk of like the water bill. And that might not sound like a lot, but when you can't work traditionally due to vision, or it's just excessively difficult, that's a good thing. Every little bit helps. In my case, I can sure do a job or two from at a traditional location, but getting there is tough. I can't drive. Never been able to drive, and I never will be. 15 years ago when I was doing my learner's permit, I did the vision test. And I failed the vision test, and that was before I had detached my retina and had 15 more years of, degenerative retinopathy and all that. So, it's one of those things where I've accepted it. I've had plenty of time to accept it, and in middle school and high school, it really didn't matter, And I was in middle school, no one drove. So it didn't really matter much. And in high school, very few people I knew drove. Some did, but it's just one of those things you kind of work around it. And then as you get in your 20s and 30s, it's a little tougher. But with working, it's like, okay, I can get a job, but cab fare is expensive. Rides are not exactly unreliable, but they're not as reliable as a cab. So there's a big trade-off there. Cab fare, even when I was working at a thrift store, and it was only $15 total each day, well, over the course of an entire week, and for that job it was 6 days a week, you're talking about $100 a week just on a cab, and that's for a job that would pay $800 per month before taxes. So that's a healthy chunk of income right there. And granted, it can be written off, but that's still out of pocket. That's still not money you can put towards a bill. So I started exploring work-at-home options through FlexJobs, and I fully recommend a membership there because if you're like me and try to use Craigslist for work at home, it's a nightmare. That site it's not tough to navigate, but it's hard on the eyes. And FlexJobs, it's a premium site. You do have to pay a little bit for it. I got a membership for $30 a year. They have a promo code for it. You join for a month at half off, and then they give you a promo code for here's the year for that price. And I took advantage of that because I thought, what, more than anything else, this site's given me hope. And I had known through NeoGAF about places like Lionbridge, LeapForce, and those are web search evaluation companies. And there's another one I can't quite think of right now. But I hadn't heard of App in Butler Hill until FlexJobs, and I got on there and applied, and I got in. And if you're wondering what web search evaluation is, you basically just do a bunch of Googling and Bing searches, and you do comparison tests and that kind of thing. And they also, for App in Butler Hill, they go a little further. They have transcription tasks. And those are fun. You just get a little bit of text, and you click on the player, it plays it, you transcribe it, and you get a nickel for each thing. And that might not sound like a lot, but just doing that got me $13 an hour. And they do limit you to 20 hours a week, and you can't count on being able to do all 20 hours on that one task, because they only have, like in the case of transcription, when I was doing that over the weekend, they had 20,000 hits available. That's not just for you though. That's for everyone who's qualified for that particular task. So, you gotta go with what you can get. And if you have a task you're really good at that's worth that nickel or 4 cents, it doesn't seem like much. I know Amazon MTurk, it's kind of like that, but a lot more fun and a lot more diverse. And it's nowhere near as mind-numbing. Like MTurk, you're just working towards a gift card, and I am all for that when there aren't any App in Butler Hill hits available. A lot of times you find it'll show up in your favorites on the left-hand side, and you can't do anything with it. So it's like, okay, if that's the case, okay, move on over to a MTurk thing, go to MTurk list. Good way to find a lot of things. I made a few bucks on that just the past few days. I haven't done MTurking in like 6 months because I didn't feel it was worth the time. I'd rather put that time towards actually finding a job, But with FlexJobs, it's like, okay, it's a job. It's not full-time. But one little thing I do is like during Raw, 3-hour show, a lot of filler, right? Do it. Do some quick hits during the commercial breaks. Knock a few things out. You can get a lot of things done during a break. You can do a lot of transcription in 3 minutes. Or, if there's just a filler match on there, you're not going to really want to watch it. So just, get a couple of things done. Do a Bing versus Google comparison search. Some of those pay really well. You might even get 15 cents a hit for some of these things. And in the case of, there's a lab company that does stuff, 30 cents per hit. Those are fewer in number, but if you build up enough of a reputation with that company, they'll request that you do stuff with them. They'll send you more work, So it might be easy to go, I'm just going to not care. Always put forth some effort into it, I know that sounds a little odd. Well, you just said do it during breaks. Yeah, you can still do a lot of stuff during breaks. These Bing versus Google searches, right? These things are simple. It's 2 columns. And you just go, okay, what's the better option? You cite examples on each side, you click submit, you're done. You're talking 3 or 4 seconds tops per hit. It might only make you, 50 cents for a commercial break, but hey, it adds up. And, I went from my first check being really small and wondering, well, that's not really good. And I looked at the hours and I thought, well, you know what? The reason it's not good is because of me. You got to sometimes do a little bit of self-evaluation, self-examination, and introspection, and realize sometimes you're not doing what you want to be doing. It's because of you. You're holding yourself back. Try to avoid doing that. When you got a work-at-home gig like this, jump on it. I was so proud. I went from doing 17 hours over the course of a month and a half, and that's with a good reason with the vision scare I had in February throughout March. But still, I needed to ask myself, you know what? In the end, as far as I know, I'm not doing my job. Okay? And I don't want to run the risk of losing this thing. So my best bet, since I got kind of an all clear for my vision, or at least a reasonable clear, focus on it, work on it, make it better, do more with the opportunity you're given, And I've had to do that numerous times. When I was in high school, I didn't take advantage of every opportunity I had. Like in journalism class, I didn't take any advantage of that. Of course, I still remember the lessons learned in that class, and I learned from what I should have done. I always regretted that. So if you have something where you're like, you didn't reach your potential, fine. There's nothing wrong with just admitting that you fell short of even your own expectations and to work on it next time. Don't beat yourself up over it, because I've done that before. It doesn't do you any good. You just wind up feeling down. You don't want that. Everyone has a skill, right? And sometimes it takes time for it to flourish. It's like a flower. You can't just plant a flower and then a day later expect a whole garden to grow. It takes time. It takes cultivation. It takes effort. And that's the thing. You got to put forth effort on these things and look into transcription jobs as well. Because with this App and Butler Hill thing, with all the money I made with transcribing, I was like, you know what? I got a knack for it to some degree. Let me at least throw in applications. And I looked on YouTube and I found another video of this. All these companies are doing work-at-home transcribing, and you're not going to make a mint. But if you're between jobs, these can be a real lifesaver. I'll never forget my mom and I having no income for numerous points in time. And, we just unload stuff we had, and that would, tide us over. And that's a good thing. Don't be afraid to sell stuff, folks. I personally have numerous Rubbermaid bins full of things to sell. And it's like, I kind of feel bad about it. It's like, well, it's 10 years of accumulated stuff. In some cases 20, like all these VHS tapes I still have lying around. There's not really much of a market for it, but hey, I've got them myself, I need to. Or just donate them, because who in the heck is going to want some old WWF tape from 20 years ago when there's the WWE Network now that everyone should be buying if you're a wrestling fan? That has nothing to do with App and Butler Hill. If it ever does, I'm golden. If there's ever an App and Butler Hill task that involves like WWE Network evaluation, I will be there. I will do all 20,000 hits within, an hour probably. But anyway, don't give up hope if you're looking for work at home. Just keep at it. Join flex jobs. And, even if they don't have a position that you see, if there's a company there that, like IBM has things on flex jobs, look through everything these companies have. Go for Fortune 500s. Go for Fortune 150s. Don't sell yourself short. Apply from the lowest end to the highest end, and you'll eventually find something. Because if you can get like an IBM job, you're good. You'll be fine with that. But the key is to just keep trying and don't give up.